Well, hello everyone. Another video, Sidale Ranch. I'm going to do this video today about how to fill or load your tractor tires with water. So basically these rims are painted, and from what the tractor dealers tell me, they just load them with water if you want to do the counterbalance. And so water it is. You can mix a little antifreeze or something in that if you want, if that's what you used to do, but basically I'm just going to fill these tires up with water. What that does is that gives you more weight on your rear end, gives you a counterbalance for your loader, and it also helps take some of the strain off of your front axle when you're doing dirt work. So of course this doesn't substitute for a good 3-point counterweight, but what this is going to do is it's going to make your tractor heavier. It's going to make your tractor have more grip, more stable, and you're going to have a more lower gravity on your tractor. So your weight's going to be sitting down lower. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and add as much water as I can to these rear tires. And to do that, basically you're going to need water hose with water connection. You're going to need to come in here and take the valve stem core out. Now if you're going to fill these tires, and you don't want to just let all the air out of your tire, because you'll be dealing with possibly breaking the bead on your tire, and these big tires that have no tube in them are not easy to rebead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let some of the basically let some of the air out when I put this adapter on and I take the core out, but I'm going to be ready to turn the water on before the tire gets too low and starts messing with any beading issues or whatever. But I'll do that a couple times, let the air pressure out of the tire, because as you put water in, you're again putting more air and everything, or you're displacing the air with water, which is going to then build more air pressure up. So you'll have to do this a few times, but you can do it with this simple little tool. I got this off Amazon. It's just a little water hose adapter tool that adapts to the valve stem on these tractors. So it can it's got even another adapter inside, so it can do just the small portion of the valve stem when you pull the core out, or you can actually unthread this portion of the valve stem to expose a larger hole so that it fills faster. But I'm not going to do that. I'll do that on my backhoe because that's a lot more tire to do. But on this one, I'm going to do it slowly because I don't want to dislodge the bead, and I'm going to fill it with the smaller adapter on this. So basically I'm going to take that apart, put this on. All you need is this tool, that is the water hose adapter, and then you need a valve stem tool like this, or there's multiple kinds, but you need something that can take that valve stem core out and put it back in, and that's it. And a water hose with water, and you can fill your tire. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that and show you how I'll get it set up. So when you're parking the tractor, make sure you park the tractor where the valve stem is at the very tip top. And before you start this, you want to make sure that if the valve stem's at the very tip top, you're going to be able to get as much water in there. If you try to do this with the valve stem at the bottom or on the side, well, you're going to be playing with squirting water all over the place. So the best place to have that valve stem is at the very tip top of the rim, so that way you can get the most amount of water in there. So first things first, I'm going to take this, well, you know what? I was going to take the valve stem out, but these don't have to be super tight because there's a rubber gasket. But as soon as I started pulling the valve stem off, or the valve cap off, the whole small portion started coming out. So if you hear that, there's already some air coming out of that. I'm not going to pull that out all the way. I'm going to get the adapter ready, and I guess since it's doing this, I might as well just use the large port to fill it up, and then I'll use the small one to top it off. So I'm going to go ahead and hook that up. So as I pull this out, it's going to get quite loud. So alright, so it's letting the air out. Then you take this adapter and you screw it on. As you can see, it's got multiple swivels there. Now I'm still letting it let air out. and I'm going to tighten. Sorry. All right, so I've got it tightened. Now on this, there's this valve that if you want to let air out as you're filling it with water, it's there. You turn the water off, press this button here, and it lets air out. So this is how you can keep putting more water in and letting more air out. But for now, I'm going to tighten it on there, and I'm going to go turn the water on so it starts filling this up. All right, so it's probably a little hard to hear, but if I get this mic up to it, you can hear that the water is coming out of the water hose into the tire. Now, I actually was able to let a lot of air out of this tire. It didn't even get close to dislodging the bead. So, you know, proceed with caution on losing the bead on your tire, but your tires may be, I guess these rear tires are capable or are thick enough to not really have a beading issue. But I always worried about it with my backhoe because it's got such huge tires. But basically, whatever tractor you're filling up with water, just make sure you understand the whole concept of beading that tire and making sure that you don't lose the bead on it while you're letting air out. If you've ever had a major flat tire on a big tractor tire, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, so this is going to run for a little bit. It takes a little while to fill up that much water in a tire. But basically when I'm done, I'm just going to disconnect it. It's probably going to shoot some water out of there as I'm doing it, but as soon as you get that valve stem in your hand, you just get ready and disconnect this one with one hand and put the other valve stem in with the other, and you'll be pretty good. You'll be able to get it taken care of. But that's it. That's about all you got to do to get these set up. I'm going to put a link to the valve stem tools and the filler tool that you would need to do this for your tractor tires. But I mean, it's quite a bit. If you look up the displacement of these larger rear tractor tires, I mean, you're adding quite a bit of weight. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think they told me 800 pounds worth of water you could get for each one of these tires. So it's like, I mean, that's probably close to 100 gallons of water that will go in these tires. You know, and at I don't remember what it is it 8.8 per gallon? I'd have to look that up. But at 8 pounds per gallon of water, you're adding quite a bit of counterbalance. It's actually a good thing to do if you haven't done this already. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this thing filled up, and then I'll take a shot at the end when I'm disconnecting it, putting together, and let y'all guys see the whole process. But I'm going to skip through this part. All right, so I was running the water, and I could tell by the sound of the water this tire's about halfway full, maybe a little more than halfway full of water. So I stopped the water hose. I turned the water hose off, which would stop forcing water in. Well, what's going to immediately happen is the backflow of the air pressure is going to go back into the water hose. So to let some of that pressure out, that air pressure out from the water hose, that's what the button's for. So I'm going to use this. If water was over the valve stem, water would be coming out of this right now because the air would float to the top and it would be pushing the water out. But so water is not over the valve stem, and this is allowing me to let the air pressure that's built up from the displacement of the water out so we can put more water in. So that's what the little button is for. I don't know if there's versions without it, but I would definitely get the version that has the little air pressure button so you can let that out. If you really want to do it quicker, you could just, you know, unscrew it, I guess, and it would come out quicker. But this is relatively quick, not that big of a deal. So wanted to show y'all that. So like I said, about halfway through I would do this, and then about 3/4 of the way through I would do it again, and I'd keep doing it to a point where when you do this, it's actually water coming out. Then you'll know that you're over the valve stem, and at that point you can put the valve stem back together and then check your air pressure using an air pressure tool, and make sure you're not exceeding any of the pressures for your tire. So I'm going to continue doing this and letting the air pressure out until it's pretty low, and then I'm going to continue putting the rest of the water in. All right, so water hose got it filled up. I could see the tire starting to bulge like it had a good set of air in it, and tested it. Water's coming out now, water was coming out when I was doing it. So, you know, that's about the time to take this off. You want to have some air in there so you can adjust pressure easily. But also another tip is make sure you have clothes on that you don't mind getting a little wet. You're going to get sprayed. I think there's no way around it. You're going to get sprayed a little bit trying to get that valve stem off while you pull off the water hose. So not too bad. I got just sprayed a little, but kind of refreshing when it's 100 degrees, but you're going to get a little wet. But anyways, that's it. Basically, I took the water hose adapter off, put the valve stem piece back in. I'm going to put the cap on it, and then I'm going to check the pressure. If the pressure's high, just let out some air or water, whatever comes out. And if you need to add some pressure, then just hook up the air compressor and put some air in it. So, but that's it. It's pretty simple. And now you got a whole lot of extra weight on your rear rim, and that's really going to help you keep that rear end of your tractor down when you're doing loader work or any kind of work out in the pasture or uneven ground. So it definitely helps. If you don't have loaded rear tires, I definitely recommend it. So hope this video helps everyone. Like I said, I'm going to put a link to the tools that I used. I bought them off Amazon, so I'll put a link to them down in the description. If you would, go ahead and use those links. They're affiliate links, and they give me a tiny bit of the share, but it all adds up and helps support the channel. Thank you guys, and if y'all liked any of this, if any of this was helpful, please subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hit the bell, do all the fancy YouTube stuff they want you to do, and help get this information out there. Thanks, everyone.